Oh, and welcome to a few quality moments around the table, the Shabbat table, that is, with the Rabbi's son. Thank you for joining in and letting me spend a few moments of this special Sabbath with you and sharing our journey together, our quest to know the Creator of the universe. We have a different kind of a discussion to have today. Usually, we have gone through a certain portion of the Torah, of the instruction manual for life on earth that was given to us by the Creator back at Mount Sinai. But today we're taking a scheduled, prearranged pause in our discussion of the Torah for a very important reason. The Creator of the universe told us to do things a little different. That there are certain days that are different than other days, certain seasons of the year that are different than other seasons of the year, certain times when our focus has to shift a little bit. And even if we're doing something valuable, like pursuing knowledge of Him and wisdom of Him and getting connected with Him through His instruction manual, the Torah, even yet we need to remember some things and we need to connect with certain things at certain seasons of the year. We'll talk about what those are. Many times they're called the feasts or the festivals. Hebrew Moedim or Mikraot or Hagim, the Hags, the dancing festivals. There are so many different names you could give to them, but the Holy One is going to introduce them to us in a few weeks in our Torah studies, so He's giving us a little preview today as we talk about what it means to do time His way, to have appointments with Him according to His schedule, not according to our convenience. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the festivals, the feast. You will hear me say the word moedim. It's a plural word from moed. Moed means appointment. Like you have an appointment with a dentist or a doctor or your friends to go see a ball game or to enjoy a few moments together or a meal. It's appointment, moed. And when you talk about the plural form, it's moedim. So if you hear me say the word moedim, I'm not trying to be mysterious. I'm trying to refer you back to the fact that the Holy One wants to meet with us in very special ways, as we would like to have special times with our friends or with our loved one, our spouse, or our children. We want to have set aside times just for us. I call them times for just us. Not justice necessarily, just us. Covenant partners or friends coming together on days, at times, for just us. That's the Moedim. That's the feasts or festivals or appointed times of the Creator of the universe. Now, we haven't really been introduced to this situation yet in the Torah studies that we've been doing. So I'm going to give you, like I said, this is a bit of a preview before we get to the details. Because you see, I've been talking to you about the Kedusha discourse that began with Leviticus chapter 10, verse 8. And we'll continue through chapter 24, verse 9. I hinted last week, I let the cat out of the bag a little bit, that one of the highlights, maybe the main highlight of this Kedusha discourse is yet to come, and that is the love chapter of Leviticus chapter 19, that teaches us, the Holy One is instructing us that the whole purpose of this adventure that we're going on together, the quest of getting to know Him, is to learn how to love. To learn that love is more than just a feeling, to learn that love is so much more than just a thing we say or a way we handle emotions or process attraction. Love is a verb. It is an action. It is all about action. It's all about showing affection, but more than affection, showing commitment and fealty and loyalty and dedication and a sense of joinder together with the one we love. So we're going to talk about that. Chapter 19 of Torah, of Leviticus, I should say, the high point perhaps of the Kedusha discourse that we're presently in our studies is coming, and I mentioned it last week, but I didn't get into detail. It's going to give us, it's going to flesh out for us what it looks like to love. in the Holy One's way, in the divine plan to love that way. And it's shocking, it's stunning, it's all powerful, it's much more than anything that the human being on his own could come up with as far as the definition or defining the parameters of love. But we're going to find that coming. But there's something coming after that, and the climax or conclusion that comes after that is chapter 23 of Leviticus, the next to last, the penultimate section of the Kedusha discourse, and that is the discourse on the Moedim, the discourse on the feast, the festivals, the appointed times, the times for covenant partners of the Holy One to come together with him and with each other for days and times of just us, of recounting common history, of saying to one another, and if you listen to me, beloved, we had to know what love is to be able to say this, but recounting common history and saying to one another on these appointed times, saying to the Holy One, saying to one another according to the provisions of Leviticus 19, have I told you lately that I love you? I want to give this new paradigm for the Moedim for you. It's not a new paradigm, it's an ancient paradigm. But unfortunately, because of religion and forms of religion and creeds and theologies and halakha movements, there's now a focus on minute details of the feast, and there's even a sense that maybe we do them and we can judge others because they don't do them the way we do them, in the time we do them, in the manner we do them, for the purposes we do them, and oh my heavens, my friends, please don't go down that route. A feast are about meeting with the Holy One and letting him tell us, and us telling him, have I told you lately that I love you? And have I told you how much I love you? Have I told you that I love you more than, and I'll put any lips there for you to fill in. Have I told you, Holy One, Creator that made me, the one I'm getting to know through the Torah, have I told you that I love you? Have I told you that I love you more than, well, what? Right now we could tell him, because we're in the days of unleavened bread, I love you more than leaven. I love you more than donuts. I love you more than sandwich bread. I love you more than cinnamon rolls. I love you more than the things that the world thinks are essential to their diet, from biscuits. I love you more than biscuits. I love you more than cookies. I love you more than cake. I love you more than any of those things. How have I told you lately that I love you, Holy One? And have I told you that I love you more than that? Well, we could go every one of the Moedim, every one of the feasts, every one of the festivals that are mentioned in Leviticus 23. And we'll talk a little bit about what those are in a few moments. Every one of those is a moment of time set apart, pre-arranged, pre-scheduled for us to meet with the Holy One and have him say to us and us say to him, have I told you lately that I love you? Let me count the ways I love you more than something. Each Moed tells the Holy One, or tells us, that he loves us more and we love him more than some specific thing that the earth offers. As I said, right now we're in the season of unleavened bread, so we tell him, I love you more than leaven. We just came through the season of Passover when we surrendered basically control over our destiny and our future, control over the world, the right to complain about our rights not being met in Egypt, or our place of bondage, or our place of galut, which is exile, our place of living anywhere besides our home in Eretz Israel. We want to have the right to complain about what people are doing there. And he says, do you love me more than your right to complain? Your sense of injustice, your sense of immorality, your aversion to the things that are going on in your realm. Do you love me more than you hate those things? Well, these are the kind of the challenges we have when we get to the festival seasons. And so whenever we're talking about it, we need to discuss what we're talking about. What are these Moedim? Like I say, right now we're in the one called the Feast of Unleavened Bread, or Hag HaMatzah. That it's a 7-day period that began with Passover celebration, and then goes on forward for another few days. This is the 4th day of unleavened bread. So what are the appointed times? They're found, as I said, in Leviticus 23 at the climactic portion near the conclusion of the Kedusha discourse. Part of our becoming holy as he is holy is having these moments, these seasons, these appointed times when we tell the Holy One, have I told you lately that I love you? Let me count the ways. I love you more than the things that are important to us, to the rest of the world at this time of year. So what are those appointed times? First one is very simple. It happens every 7 days. It's the Sabbath. I perhaps should go back a little further, back to Genesis chapter 1. The first appointed time that he gave us was the evening and the morning of Genesis 1. And all through the accounts of the creation week, he talked about the evening and the morning. So he gives us, before he even gives us a Sabbath, he gives us evening and he gives us morning. The ideas of the turns of the turns of light to darkness and darkness to light. Seasons, remembrances of his creation, of who he is. Moments to pause and think. Look at a sunset or a sunrise, or envision it about to take place. Seeing his artwork, his beautiful sculpting and artistry that he made, and making that sunset or sunrise the way it is. And preparing for the shift in the light that's about to take place, whether it be a sunrise and light's about to fill the earth, or whether it be a sunset and light is about to fade, and all to fade into darkness. To be able to say, this is my time, appointed time of all the day, to really focus on the Creator of the universe and say, have I told you lately that I love you? And they count the ways. I love you more than light, than darkness, than sleep, than work, than activities and thrills and actions. Okay, but that's it. So beyond that, in Leviticus 23, he begins to talk to us about the appointed times. He says, these are my appointed times. It's not that this Israel's appointed times or the Jewish people's appointed times or any particular nationality or ethnicity's appointed times. These are his appointed times when he calls for his creation who is becoming holy as he is holy, who is becoming a vessel of Kedusha. That is the call. That's the mission we have been assigned to actually focus on that mission, refocus, recalibrate, retune to that mission. So we have these times, the Sabbath, the 7th day, from evening to morning, the 7th day. It's every time when we tell him we love him more than work. We love him more than the ability to control our finances, ability to take from other people, to go places and do things for our own will. We love him more than those things. That's how we approach the Sabbath, the Passover. We love him, as we said, more than the power to control our own destiny or future, more than the right to complain, we love him more than that. Feast of Unleavened Bread, more than the normal way of doing food and eating. We fast leaven. We fast the things that puff up, the things that bring the cultures of the world into our lives. We fast those things, and we focus on telling him we love him, not for what he brings to us or not what we allowed to have by virtue of living in this world on this temporal basis, but because of who he is eternally and what he has done for us. We remember the times past when he delivered us from Egypt and had us eat unleavened bread. And now we remember that there is in the future a time when, again, he will feed us something like unleavened bread in the days of the ultimate future redemption. So the Sabbath, the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Day of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks, the Day of breathing, blowing, Yom Teruah, as it's called, or some call it Rosh Hashanah, the Day of breathing, blowing, sounding off, the Day of Covering, of which some call the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippurim, or Yom Kippur, and then the Feast, the 7 days of the Feast of Tabernacles, of Sukkot, and then the 8th day, the grand climactic celebration of Shemini Atzeret, a picture of the world to come. We have these appointed times to connect with the Holy One and tell him, have I told you lately that I love you? Let me count the ways I love you more than ellipse. At these appointed times, these Moedim, these feasts or festivals or scheduled times, the Holy One designed for us to realign with his agenda and him personally, his persona, and his instructions from heaven. They are designated days, beloved, to put on dress uniforms, as it were, and pass in review. To put on dress uniforms like the military does, and pass in review like the military does, but it's not a military event. It's an event of love. It's an event of covenant faithfulness and connection. So these are appointed times, or scheduled times for realignment with the King's agenda and with his instructions from heaven and his persona. They're designated days to put on the dress uniform and pass in review before whom? Before him, first of all. This is about connection between us and our Creator. This is not some law we fulfill or ceremonial process we go through. This is not some set of rules we judge other people by or even ourselves by. These are designated days to appear before him. If we do not have that connection, if we do not seek out and pursue that connection and receive that as the primary reason for these festivals or feasts or days, then we have missed the point. These are designated days to put on the dress uniform, pass and review before our Creator, and connect with him. Make eye contact, as it were, as best we can with the Creator, the Spirit, the Creator of the universe, the one who designed us and had put this world in place and put us in it. But not just before our Creator. As we pass in review before our Creator, we also join together with all the families and friends that we have, and we pass before them as well. Our families and our friends, we pass in review with the dress uniforms. Before the nations, the nations that are gathered and assembled in the heavenly courts and in the earthly courts, they will watch us. They will see us. They are supposed to see us. And they are supposed to see us declaring our Creator, how much we love him, how much we love him more than everything that is in the ellipse, everything that is contrary to this, the moments of the day of the particular feast. So we pass in review before our Creator. We pass in review before our families and our friends. Our children should see us. Our husbands and wives, as the case may be. Our friends should see us turning our hearts toward the Holy One, not getting all legalistic about specific rules and regulations. Turning our hearts toward the Holy One, filled with first love with him, like the days of the first love. So we pass before our families and our friends. We pass before the nations. The nations should see us and say, they truly love their God more than they hate us. Oh my. If they think we hate them. If they think we believe we are superior to them. If they think we are here to judge them and to condemn them. Oh, beloved, we have failed in our essential mission. Their mission, when they see us, they're to say, oh, how they love him. Oh, how he loves them. We want that, not their judgment, their criticism, and their elitism. So we pass before the nations, and we pass even before every element and species of the created order of the cosmos. And when we do so, as we pass in dress uniform review and pass in review before these, we declare with our words and with our actions on all these feasts that are designed to do this. We declare with words and actions our love of and our commitment to eternal service of the Holy One, our God. He has strategic reasons at particular times of the year as we know it in our world for us to appear before him, for us to connect with him and recalibrate, to realign with him and his agenda. To tune back to his true tone, his true mood, his true demeanor, his true words, to come back away from all the slime of the leaven that we have been exposed to in the world, and to come back to be representatives of heaven again, not just repeaters of things that people talk about on earth, not people who talk about ideologies and politics and theologies and doctrines and religion as if they were some creed, absent and irrespective of the creator of the universe, but to talk about him with hushed tones and with passionate love and with gentleness and kindness and humility. That is the essence of what we have these strategic seasons for. And to pledge allegiance to him afresh, and to commit our troth, our covenantal troth to him afresh and anew. That's what these seasons are about. So, it's all about the times, the seasons. It's all about past, present, and future. It's all about the past, remembrance of, and rediscovering of our first love affair with him. There's a passage in Jeremiah 2 that talks about how the Holy One remembers the dedication and the love of our youth. That's what we're supposed to receive and renew and refresh and experience on these Moedim. That's what we're supposed to be looking for, seeking to reconnect with that first love experience and connection that we had with the Creator. That's the past. And so we have some element of our common past, some element of our covenant DNA that we remember at each of these Moedim. As I said, with the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the 7 days of Matzah, of Chag HaMatzah, are about remembering how all we had was Matzah and the Holy One. And it was enough. For 7 days from the river to the sea. And I hear that said by the ones who hate us the most. And I think, do they not know our history? Our history is about from the river of Nile to the Sea of Reeds, the river to the sea. I know they have all sorts of evil, angry, offended, self-righteous, judgmental, critical, hate-filled reasons for saying what they say. But I smile when they say it because it makes me remember from the river of Nile to the Sea of Reeds how it was just us. It was just us and a bag of matzah and a pillar of fire and cloud. So though I don't appreciate particularly the hatred they feel towards us and the self-righteous indignation they cast at us and the disrespect they show to our God in this process, I have to smile at the words that they say, to say, oh, but you made me remember. Thank you at least for that. You made me remember the days of my first love. So we have this issue of the past. Each of the Moedim has something to remember about our first love experiences, first time of getting to know the Creator experiences. It also has things to do with the present. In the present, what are we supposed to do? As we said, to tell the Holy One, have I told you lately that I love you? To renew and refresh that sense of understanding that we are here to love him and to receive love from him. And therefore to love other people. It is very interesting that before we are ever instructed in the Torah to love the Holy One, we are told to love one another, to love our neighbor, to even love our enemy, the foreigner and our enemy. The idea is you can't really love the Holy One unless you have first learned the idea of what love is and practiced it on your neighbor, on the foreigner in your midst, and on your enemy, those who hate you and swear your death and your genocide. It's an amazing thing. If we want to recalibrate to the love of the Holy One, we have to go through the love of man to get there. So the present time, we're to recalibrate to the frequency and the rhythm and the plan and the timing and the cadence of the Holy One. We're to reconnect with heaven. We're to, as if we're appear before his throne, like we went through in the tabernacle. We went through the portal into the heavenly realm, and we got before the great king, and we were in his courts, and we became courtiers of the great king, and we were assigned, filled with Kedusha energy, and assigned to go forth and take that Kedusha energy and the words of the Holy One into the world as his ambassadors. That's the sense of reconnecting with that. We're supposed to do that in every feast on a present basis, refill ourselves with Kedusha, get a new release of vocabulary and of messages to the world. We are supposed to also, in the present, recalibrate to the frequency, the rhythm, the plan, and the timing, and the cadence of the earth, the created earth. It looks like it's agricultural. We're talking about harvest seasons. We have a spring harvest, the fall harvest, but it's all about the getting in touch with the earth from which we were drawn and the earth which we have been given authority to steward. Living in cities, going about day-to-day activities, especially in the 21st century, one loses contact with the rhythms of the earth, the rhythms of the creation, the rhythms of seed time and harvest, darkness and light, cold winter and summer. We lose rhythm, and he says, no, you need to be in tune with the rhythm. See, the thing about the earth is, and its rhythms is, they are not disturbed by political waves or trends. They're not disturbed by theological arguments. The earth does what it does. The earth reproduces life. The earth continues, the sun continues to rise and fall and set. The moon does the same. The plants continue to grow. In winter, in the absence of light, they begin to retreat. The deciduous plants and trees begin to retreat into the earth. Some are refreshed and renewed during this time of retreat. Some animals hibernate. We are in the rhythm, tied to the rhythms of the earth. Well, we have the Holy One. We're recalibrating to Him in His throne room. We're recalibrating to the earth. And then we're to recalibrate to our role in the great passion play of showing the mission of the Holy One, the Creator of the universe. So, past, remembering our first love. Present, recalibrating to what we're supposed to be doing in the present time. And reconnecting with the message of the earth, not differentiating from it. We're following the patterns of the earthly habitation. Former rains, latter rains, low-hanging fruit, our grains, the different harvests, the different seasons. We follow those seasons. And thirdly, the passion play. What are we supposed to be telling the world, showing the world? What is our message in this season of the earth, in this season of time? What are we supposed to be saying? And finally, the focus of these Moedim, each one individually, is something about the redemption to come, the great redemption to come. Each feast that we're talking about doesn't have just a past purpose, a present purpose. It has a future connection. It connects us to what's going to happen in the great redemption that is yet to come. Oh, this world will not end because of climate change. This world will not end because of nuclear war. This world will not end, and the age that we're in will not end because of some power movement that some man or some elitism or some cadre has developed or cabal has designed. No, what will change is the redemption to come. The Holy One has it planned, and He has a strategy, and He has a sequence for it to take place. And it will take place according to the sequence that is laid out for us, described for us, pictured for us in the feasts. Ah, beloved, it's time for me to leave you now for a while, let you enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. But I wanted to give you a new paradigm on what the world calls the feasts. Connect with the Holy One and tell Him, have I told you lately how much I love you? Let me count the ways I love you more than, and begin to list the things. Shabbat Shalom, beloved. See you next week.